Hey everybody, I'm so sorry about all the technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging on there while we get going. It's just really confusing because even though it said that some of you were viewing it on different places, when I logged into the broadcast, it said that there were 0 viewers, so I didn't think anybody could see me. So I had to create a new link. So I'm just going to give you guys a few minutes for everybody to click on over to the new link. And I'm just going to send out a quick email to everyone just so that they can find us here. There we go. Yay. I'm just going to send that out. Oh, so crazy. Well, I'm glad that we have it going now. And I still honestly can't tell who is watching this, if anyone's watching this. I know that there are a bunch of you on the Google page, so hopefully I hope that you guys can see everything. But we're already about 25 minutes behind, so I'm just going to get going with it because this way, at least you guys will get the recording of it if you're having difficulty. All right, cool. Well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for tuning in or for signing up for the recording. Either way, I really wanted to do this because I haven't offered free consultations for a while now, just because of the demands of my schedule. And because I feel like I give out a lot of content online between YouTube and Instagram and the blog that you can get a pretty good feel for me. And what my coaching style would be like without a consultation. But anyway, I wanted this to serve as an open invitation virtual consultation where you guys can ask me questions on just about anything, as well as I can explain a little bit about my story and how I got started, as well as how my coaching works. So just so you know, during this broadcast, you can tweet at me at Cassandra Bodzak, so just my name, at Cassandra Bodzak at Twitter. I did have some people email me after they signed up for the Hangout, so I will be going through those emails as well. But I'll be checking, there you go, I got Twitter next to me. So I'll be checking that. I'm just going to start off by telling you guys a little bit about how I got started, as well as my coaching, because that seems to be the biggest questions I get via email are usually, how did you get started doing what you do for a living? And then also, what is your coaching like? And can you explain what a session's like? So I'm just going to get into all of that first, and then if any questions come up for you while I'm talking about it, feel free to tweet at me. Like I said, it's just my name, Cassandra Bodzak, on Twitter. And then I'll also be reading some of the emails that were sent to me at the end, so that it's a wide variety of questions. So it's everything from standard questions about how I got started to some more personal questions about a situation that's going on. So feel free. Throw whatever you want at me, and I will look at everything. So let's just begin. Let's begin at the beginning, where my journey started. So I like to joke that I kind of fell into doing what I was doing, and it's kind of the truth, because I started, and I don't know how long many of you have followed me for, but my original blog was called Go Sweet and Skinny, and it just switched over to my name, Cassandra Bodzak, this year. And I had Go Sweet and Skinny for 7 years. 7 years? And I started it when I was in college. I had very disordered eating in college, and eventually ended up getting sick from food allergies, which I believe was a divine intervention. And that kind of led me towards cooking and wellness and reading a lot about everything from vegan diets to I put myself on an elimination diet and healed myself at that point, and also helped me recover from a lot of my disordered eating behaviors. But I'm going to try to give you guys the Spark Notes version of this because I want to get to more of your questions. And so that's how Go Sweet and Skinny started. I started messing around in the kitchen once I discovered I had all these food allergies in a time and a place in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, where I went to college. Before there were all these vegan, gluten-free stuff, and it was a lot more accessible to get those kinds of foods. So I kind of had to make my own. And I just started Go Sweet and Skinny to share those recipes because I genuinely thought that there had to have been other girls that were going through what I was going through and were missing their cookies and their cupcakes and their brownies. So that's how Sweet and Skinny came. It was at a time before skinny had such a negative connotation, which is part of why I changed it. I just meant skinny as like, lighter, healthier. To me, skinny was just me in my fittest body. But anyway, so that evolved. I was never intending to do it for a living. I didn't know that health coaching existed. I wasn't meditating or anything at this point. And it wasn't until I kept it up just as kind of a labor of love, a fun thing I love doing. The entire time when I moved into the city after I graduated college, I was working different jobs. I was an actress at the time, and again, I never really wanted or thought that there was anything that would ever come of it. I wasn't really into the whole blogger scene. I just knew that it was something that I really loved to do. So I kept doing it. And as life threw at me different curveballs, I would lean on it. It was kind of my meditation. It was my sanity. It was very therapeutic for me. And then life threw me a really big brick on my head one day, and I had what I like to call my eat, pray, love bathroom moment, where I found out that my little brother was really sick. At the same time, I had just broken up with a guy I had been with for 2 years because he didn't want to move in with me. And I was, just in a terrible, terrible rock bottom place. I was super depressed. I didn't know what to do. And it wasn't until that night when I was on my shower floor crying and begging anyone to help or to send me some guidance that I really surrendered my entire life to a higher power, because I did not know how to go on any longer at that time. And the next morning I woke up, and it was, I feel like people talk about this, but it's like one of those things you have to experience to really know what it's like. But I had stayed in that shower upset till like 5 a.m. before I dragged myself to bed and passed out. And I woke up the next morning, and there was just something in me that was like Google guided meditations. And I had done yoga, and I had, done some movement classes in college and stuff. I knew about meditation, but I never really thought it was for me or really had any patience for it. So all of a sudden after that day, I started Googling every guided meditation you could do on YouTube, and I listened to them all, and I would meditate for like 5 hours a day. And then I started reading different books, and all of a sudden, you know how it is once you open it up, all the books fall on the shelves. So I was guided to people like Gabby Bernstein, like Marianne Williamson. I eventually was guided to A Course in Miracles, which is a metaphysical text, for those of you who don't know, that I'm both a student and a teacher of. It's very much incorporated into all of my content that I put out. I'm not a super, I don't know. I guess it's just infused in my content. It's not so much that I'm specifically only a teacher of that, but it's definitely part of my path, and it helped me. So anyway, to speed this up, I kept along on that path, and it was something that I just had to do to live. I just got to this point in my life, and I was so upset with everything that was going on that I knew that I just had to follow the things that made me happy. So things that, you know, that brought me back to life were things like meditating, were things like cooking, were things like baking, were writing on the blog. And all of a sudden, after using using these tools and falling farther into meditation and stumbling upon Kundalini yoga and getting into all that, I just started naturally sharing it. I couldn't stop sharing it. And even though my blog was called Go Sweet and Skinny, I was like, you know, how can I keep these amazing tools from the whoever was reading it? And at the time, I honestly thought maybe like 20 people were reading it. And so I just started sharing because it felt good to share. It felt good to tell people about what was going on. And this was even before I could really talk about what was going on with my brother, because it was still really private and personal. And yeah, so naturally I kept on doing it. And then I started shooting YouTube videos of me cooking and whatnot. And that's kind of how everything started. The more love I poured into it and the more energy I poured into it. And again, it was totally from a place of just wanting to do it. It was for a place of needing to do it because it was fueling me, literally. And I had no idea that I could make a living off of it. And it was really my audience. It was really the people that were reading my blog that told me that I could. You know, started getting emails from people telling me about what was going on in their life and asking if I could coach them, asking like how much it was to have a session with me. And all of a sudden it was like this whole new world. And I was like, okay, so people do this. And I had to look up what holistic health coaching was. And I ended up going to IIN and getting certified and learning all about that and using some of my friends as testers to kind of see what coaching was like and getting their feedback. And that's also how I ended up getting a call and ended up being on an ABC cooking show called The Taste. They had seen one of my YouTube videos and called me into audition, and I just kind of did it on a whim, and it ended up being pretty big and launched the blog even farther. But really, I think what has gotten me where I am today was really just honestly following what felt good at every step of the way and letting it organically happen as it should. So I'm just going to leave it at that. I think that's a pretty good idea of what my story is like. And if you guys have any more specific questions or want me to get involved, more into anything, feel free to hit me up on Twitter and I will dive deeper. But yeah, so now let's just talk a little bit about what my coaching is like, and kind of, I'll just explain like the really, I don't know, the simple stuff first. And then again, if you guys have any questions, just tweet at me and I'll be sure to get more specific for you. So right now what I offer is 2 individual sessions, which is, one is the LightMaker business session, and the other one is a blast off session. And then I offer a 6-month mentorship program. And so why I decided to do this is because I believe in the option of doing either a la carte or a longer program. I definitely understand the value of a longer program, but I can definitely, I've also loved doing a la carte sessions. So anyway, so I offer both. And so I'll just go through the first one. So the blast off session. The blast off session is really like it's just a mini version of what we would do on a much more extensive level if we were working together in the mentorship program. So it's an hour and 15 minutes long, I believe. And we start off with a meditation, and sometimes we'll do another meditation in it, depending on how it's going. But you'll pretty much just tell me what's going on in your life, what struggles are coming up. You'll get a decent idea of this later when I read some of the emails to you, because a lot of people wrote in about some things that are going on in their life and asking me for advice. So pretty much this is what happens. We say, hey, what's going on right now? What's the most pertinent thing that you want to talk about, that we want to gain some clarity around, that we want to have a breakthrough around? and you'll talk to me about that, and I, will help you see the light in that situation. And it's one of those things that I guess is kind of hard to explain, but that's why I like to offer. I like to offer those sessions because, if you do one of those sessions with me, you have a really good idea of the way I coach and how we work through things, as well as as well as you can just do it a la carte, and it's great. It's a great session for those times when, something crazy happens in your life. Like maybe you lose your job, or you're in a breakup, or you're just in a funk, and you just like, that there's got to be a better way. And it's a great way to kind of blast off out of that funk and kind of get re-energized and redirected and get that clarity you need to move on. And the other session is the LightMaker business session. So the LightMaker business session is because I work with a lot of wellness and spiritual entrepreneurs who also want to learn how to, so they also want to learn how to really grow their business and how to balance their lifestyle and their business. So that's great for you if you have a business and you really want to take it to the next level, and have a little brainstorming session to get you guys excited about it. I know the viewer count is going up and down, and I just hope that everybody is not having technical difficulties, but I guess there's nothing I can do right now. So either way, you'll get a recording of this. So that's briefly what the two different sessions are. And then the mentorship program is 6 months, and we meet every week for an hour so that you have that continual build up, and you're really building the toolbox and learning how to use these tools, and you have that contact with me. So this way you can email me if anything comes up. We're building upon, we set goals of, specific areas we want to work on during those 6 months. And it's a really transformative experience. And for any of you that are watching that want even more clarity around what that looks like, I have some of my, I don't say graduates, but some of the people that have completed my 6-month program are generous and amazing enough to say that they'd be willing to chat with you guys, either via email or on the phone for 15 minutes, and you can just pick their brain, because I get a lot of people asking me for that, and I honestly think it's much better for you to talk to someone that's been through the program than for you to talk to me, because they can explain it to you from a much better perspective, I think, from what it's like to actually be through that transformation. So I'm really excited that I have some of those past clients that are willing to chat with you guys. So definitely don't be afraid to email me if that's something that you think would really help gain further clarity. So that's about it for me. If you have any questions, tweet at me now and let me know what you want to hear. And I'm going to start going through the emailed questions I got so that we can see. Let's see. Where's our first email question? Okay, could you give us some tips on how to quiet the mind from daily stresses, particularly before praying or meditating? Okay, interesting. So yes, so what I like to do is really just tune in to your breath. So when you're right, let's say right before you're going to pray, before you're going to meditate, or if you're just in the middle of the day and you're wondering how can I quiet my mind? Connect with your breath. I like to start breathing in my nose and out my mouth and feeling that sea breath go all the way to the back of my head and down and then come back again. And just focusing on that sea breath for a few breaths and really allowing any thoughts that come up. I like to think of them as like clouds passing by in the sky, because you don't want to feel like you're pushing them away, but you don't want to be holding on to them. So they're just clouds passing by. And so I hope that's helpful, just to, before you pray, before you meditate, quiet your mind. And then I also like to say that it's okay if your mind is going a little crazy before you pray or meditate. That's what prayer and meditation are for. So just let it be what it is. Don't judge what it is. And, you know, some days you're going to have crazy days and the voice in your head is going to be going wild. And sit and meditate through it. And that's how you're going to build that muscle. That's how you're going to, you know, going to that place and saying, I'm going to meditate even though my head is going crazy right now. And just allow with each thought, just let them keep on passing and let them keep on passing. Keep on centering back on your breath and let them keep on passing. And I think it's a really blessing when you have those days when your head's going crazy, when it is hard to meditate. One other thing that I love to do is to create a special space for my prayer and meditation. And so this is helpful if it's like at night or in the morning. But I like to light some candles, maybe put on some incense. I have a special little love nook that those of you that follow me on Instagram have seen. And it just sets the stage. So I know when I'm in that space, it's like my body naturally shifts to a more peaceful place. So that can be helpful too. Maybe not as helpful if you're in the office. And lastly, before we move on to the next question, I would say find a song that really tunes you in. Find a sourcing song, I like to call it. Mine is India Ari, I Am Light. And if I'm on the subway, if I am in between meetings and something happens or I'm feeling overwhelmed or whatnot, I just put on my India Ari, I Am Light, and I'm reminded of my truth and I'm connected again, and it really helps me get grounded. So if you find a song, could be any song, could be, you know, whatever, but find a song that connects for you and use that song as your coming home song, so that you can use it to train your mind that when it hears that song that, you know, you're coming home and you're clear, and now we're centering back. So I hope that was helpful for you, and put it to work and let me know. Definitely let me know how that goes for you. All right, here's the next one. Oh, do you have any advice on bravery? I have a lot of mess in my life right now, and most of the time I don't deal with it, but it's time I did. All right, bravery. Here's, bravery, interesting. And I have a lot of mess in my life. Okay, so I'm hoping I'm interpreting this right. I think that, let's say you have a lot going on in your life and maybe it's the bravery you're needing to really face it. And what I have to say to that is that sometimes we learn through pain, unfortunately. So when things come up to the surface, it's actually a great thing. When you're feeling funky, when stuff, it's great because you're actually sensitive enough to be alert to what's going on. So if you're in the middle of a mess, great, you know you're in the middle of a mess. Great learning opportunity. Let's get to cleaning that mess. And slowly but surely go one thing at a time and see what's coming up for me right now. I don't know specifically what you're dealing with, but you know, the way I like to think about showing up for life is almost like your bedroom, right? Showing up for life, showing up for your bedroom. So let's say, you know, your bedroom, if your bedroom has a pile of dirty clothes in one corner and the rest of your bedroom is spotless, there's still a pile of dirty clothes in your bedroom. If, you know, so it's really about cleaning all the corners. So it's okay if like this area of your life, this area of your life, this area of your life is clean, but if you have this area of your life that's a total mess, it needs your attention and you've got to clean it up and you have to show up for it. And as far as having bravery, I think when you connect to your truth, when you really tune in, when you get involved in a daily practice of prayer and meditation, when you really see who you truly are and you're standing in that light that you are, it gives you the power. It's through that connection and through that self-love that you're able to have that bravery, that you're able to stand up for whatever it is, no matter how rough the lesson might be. So my advice for you when you're trying to, um, get that bravery to overcome whatever it is that's going on in your life is to really just start showing up for yourself. Start showing up for yourself in the little ways by developing a daily practice. Start showing up for yourself little by little and, cleaning up that mess or whatever's going on just a bit at a time. Like, oh, what's going on? Okay, I'm not showing up for this. I'm not showing up for this. Okay, what's coming up first? Just take it step by step. And if it is, a big mess and you really don't feel like you can do it alone, then that's the perfect time to reach out to someone like me or another coach, and really have that kind of, one-on-one attention to help you get through that mess. I didn't mention this before, but I worked with a spiritual mentor for 6 months, and it was the best investment I ever made in my life. It was the most money I've ever spent on anything. And it was so worth it because at that time in my life, I wasn't able to go the distance necessarily alone. I needed some help. I needed some reinforcement. I was teaching myself all of this. And as great as that is, and as much as you can do on your own, I grew light years ahead of what I would have done if I had left it to my own accord, because I was smart enough to know that I needed assistance in the process. And having my spiritual mentor there actually helped me go faster along these assignments, helped me show up, helped me really see things that I might have taken much longer to see on my own. So I think it's also, with anything going on, it's smart to know when you need to call in some reinforcements. So I'm just going to check and see if we have any Twitter questions before I... What are my favorite books? Self-help, meditation, etc. Oh, yeah. Okay. So my favorite books. A Return to Love, of course, by Marianne Williamson. If you have not read this book, please read this book. It's amazing. Obviously, A Course in Miracles, but that's a heftier assignment. Spirit Junkie by Gabrielle Bernstein. When I first started it out, that was a very helpful beginner book to get me going. I recommend to a lot of my clients The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Find that to be very helpful, and really he has a great way of articulating everything so that no matter where you're at, you can really understand what he's explaining to you. Let me see. Favorite. Oh, Eat, Pray, Love. I love Eat, Pray, Love. I just think that's a wonderful story of being your own heroine. And let me see. I have all these books around me right now. I mean, I love Girl Boss too. That was a really fun, inspiring book. But I think that's probably... that's the main ones. Oh, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. That's a classic as well. I love reading books, and I'm definitely I'm doing the LightMaker video series right now, and I get a lot of questions about books too. So I will definitely try to do more, give you guys more information about that. Let me see what else I have going. All right, so next question. So cute. What do you do? Okay, I'm not going to reveal all of this lady's details, but pretty much she has a big decision to make in her life, and she's wondering what I would do if I was her, and do I have any advice or helpful insight to help her make such an important and huge decision? This is probably a big question to ask, but I'm stuck. This is not that big of a question to ask. This is a perfect question to ask. And I will tell you what I do. What I do is I go inside because all the answers are inside. So when I have a major decision to make, I just made actually a pretty major epic life decision that I'll be announcing publicly in maybe a little bit. But when I do that, I really sit with it. I literally sit with it on my meditation mat. So I've found that when we go, all of our answers are inside for everything, whether it's as small as what should I eat for dinner tonight? We can find that inside of us. What our body really needs when we tune in, we connect to ourselves, or it's as big as, do I marry him? Or it's as big as, do I move across the country? Or do I go to, do I change my career? Do I quit my job? All of these questions can be answered the same way. And that's simply by going inside and tuning in. So what I would say to you is, if you haven't already started a meditation practice, meditate in the morning and meditate at night. I have a bunch of guided meditations on my YouTube channel if you need some guidance. But if you want, you can totally just sit in silence with yourself and focus on your breath. And I would meditate for 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and 15, 20 minutes at night if you can. And really surrender. Bring this. One of my gurus used to tell me to demand something of my meditation. And I really stuck with me. So when you're in this place where you have a major decision to make, demand it of your meditation. Bring it to your meditation. Surrender it to your meditation, so that you put it in the hands of a higher power. Say, I need guidance on this. You can ask for a sign. I did this with the recent decision I made. I was like, give me a sign. I need a sign here because I kind of feel, I kind of knew which way I was going. I felt which one felt more expansive. That's always my judgment call. It's like, does this feel more expansive, or does this not feel that expansive? And so expansive for you guys, you can literally tell, and you could ask a friend to help you with this too. When you're talking about something, if it feels expansive, you literally feel your shoulders fall down. You'll feel your chest open up. You'll get excited. You'll glow a little bit when it feels expansive. I was recording one of my daily vlogs yesterday on the Course in Miracles, explaining like how to begin your journey to A Course in Miracles. And I literally, after just watching the replay after I recorded it, could see how much I lit up just holding this book. That's how expansive it makes me feel. It was wild. So maybe you could record a vlog for yourself too, and just see, talking about your different opportunities, and see how you actually look when you're talking about that. Talking about, taking this job makes you feel like this, and you're like, wow, like my shoulders are back, like I'm happy, I'm smiling. And taking that job is not, it's more like, oh, well, that's the logical thing to do or whatnot. Then you can find your answer there. But I would definitely bring it to your meditation practice, demand it of your meditation to gain some clarity around it. And definitely don't feel like you can't ask for signs. So you can ask the universe for a sign. The only thing about signs is that if you're going to ask for a sign, you need to listen to it when you get it, because I know a lot of people often ask for signs and then ignore them. So if you're going to ask for a sign, just say that you're going to be willing to be perceptive to whatever comes up. So for instance, oftentimes, I asked when I first, here's a good one. Good story. When I first, because I get asked about this a lot too, when I first decided to make the leap from having another job to just doing this full time, I was in this weird position where I was kind of making enough money doing this, but I also really liked the fact of knowing I had that just in case, and I didn't really know what to do. And I kept on bringing it to my meditation pillow. And I was like, please just let me know if I should quit. Let me know if I should quit. Give me a sign. Just give me a sign. Just help me out here. And I would surrender it. I surrendered it for a couple weeks. And after a couple weeks, I remember this so vividly. I'm walking in Brooklyn on Greenpoint to a friend's apartment or something. And I get a call from my boss, who I was friendly with. We had a really good relationship. And he calls me and he says, Cass, I know this is kind of weird, but mind you, this guy is like not a spiritual guy at all. I know this is kind of weird, but I just had a feeling when I was creating the schedule for next month that I shouldn't put you on it. Like, I just felt overwhelmingly like you didn't want to be on it. And I just want you to, like, I didn't put you on it, but I want you to know that I'm not firing you. I just, if you want to be on the schedule, I'll put you back on the schedule. But I just had to call you and let you know that I didn't think I should put you on it. And I literally stopped in my tracks and said, thank you, universe. And I told him, no, you're absolutely right. That was a correct feeling. I didn't want to be on it. And he was like, okay, well, if anything changes and you would like to come back, just let me know. We'll always make it work for you. And I said, thank you so much. And then that was that. And I think that was like the easiest like job ending ever. It was crazy. And it really was just because I surrendered it. I surrendered it to the universe to, you know, to be guided. And I lucked out where it wasn't even like a totally obvious sign. It was like it just handled itself for me. It became clear that was a path for me. So I hope that was helpful. And I hope that helps you get some clarity around your decision, because if you go with whatever feels good, what feels more expansive, you will be making the right choice, my dear. All right. Let me see if there's any other questions. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. I'm sorry. They're all spattered around my inbox. Okay. So I often get questions about my pricing. And I can't share the news yet. I want to, but I just want to be careful about it. Want to make sure everything's set in stone before I divulge what's going on with my big decision. But so I get a lot of questions about my pricing. I get a lot of comments about my pricing. So I think let's just talk about that, because it's definitely something that comes up often. And so oftentimes people are saying, you know, like they'll make some comments about it being too expensive or whatnot. And so this is what I have to say to that, is that, you know, when we're doing this work, and if any of you out there are entrepreneurs or coaches yourself or yoga teachers or whatever you're doing, you know that it's an energy exchange. So you're not just paying for an hour of someone's time, you're paying for like an hour plus of someone's energy. And there's a lot that goes into those sessions that is not even in that hour. So let's say like before the session, I make sure, you know, like I meditate, I clear all the air in my space. I get myself in the zone to make sure that I'm going to be in my highest self for you. And then there's a lot of energy that goes into the meditation itself, and not the meditation, the session itself. So what I really think is that the way it goes is that you're either ready to break through, you're either ready to do the work, and you're ready to show up for yourself. Because here's the thing, guys. We spend so much money on ridiculous stuff, and we spend so little sometimes on investing in ourselves. So when we really put the money there to invest in ourselves, like I said before, when I worked with my mentor, it was one of the most expensive things I ever did for myself. But it was one of the most expansive and game-changing things I ever did. And it was because I actually valued myself enough to do it for me. So, so there's that. And I'm also, on the other hand, I will say that I've been there, guys. I've been totally broke. I've been working like 5 jobs. I totally get it. Um, and and to that, I say, well, how much more amazing to ask for the miracle for you to be able to make it happen and to have that work out. But also, there are going to be more opportunities like this where you can ask me questions, you can get insight. I'm excited now that I figured out how to work out Google Hangouts to offer more opportunities like this. And I'm also going to start offering, I think, online group coaching with me. So don't worry, I haven't forgotten about you if you're a student or if you're someone that is struggling financially right now, that that there'll be options so that you can get the help if you really want it and you're really ready for it. But I highly recommend challenging yourself, showing up for yourself, and making an investment in yourself, because it's sending a big message to the universe. Once I started investing myself, then I started making money. To be honest, I struggled with abundance for years. And it wasn't until I really stood in my own power and said, hey, I'm going to do this for me, and I'm going to trust money's going to show up. It's going to figure itself out, because there's no greater work than you can do than the work on you, right? This is your life here we're talking about. So that's that. I just wanted to give that little note, and let me know. I'm just going to stay on for a little bit longer to see if anybody has any more questions. Just tweet them at me and give one more look on the emails. Questions everywhere. Oh, okay, here's a good one. All right, so to protect her details, I'm just going to say the gist of the situation. So pretty much a boy's situation has gotten her in her ego head, and she doesn't know how to come back home because she says that she's been talking to all of her friends and she doesn't know what's illusion anymore, and she's just really struggling. So the answer to this, and she even does say, she says, how do I bring this to my into my prayers and my meditation and to clear all the bullshit, and just feel like myself again. And so this is a great example of something that happens with a lot of my clients often. And so in these cases, the truth is this is when we bring out the toolbox. This is, something that we do during the 6 months that we work together in the mentorship program, is we're building you a toolbox so that, that's kind of also why it's 6 months long, not only because there's so much of your life to cover that most of my 6-monthers renew for another 6 months because they're so far along, they don't want to stop growing. But when, the value of doing that for 6 months is because it's great for the little life things to pop up, right? It's great. Like, I love it when, I don't love it comes out wrong. I love it. But it's great when a breakup happens or you lose your job or something like that in the middle of the program, because it forces us to really bring out those tools again and say, hey, what are we working on? So it's more than just, just when everything's sunshine and roses and you going deeper and you feeling even more blissful and growing your business, and that's all great. But sometimes things happen, and like she said, she's in an ego headlock right now. And what I told her was that what you need to do is you need to bring it to your meditation again. You need to ask for the miracle. Say, I choose again. I choose to see the truth. I choose again. And what I like to tell a lot of my clients is about the practice of surrendering. So surrendering doesn't mean that we're just, sitting back and not doing anything. Actually, surrendering is the most powerful thing you can do, because you're turning something over to the higher power. You're turning something over to God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I don't care what you call it. You're turning it over. And I always imagine like a basketball, literally. So when I'm surrendering something, I'll literally be like, and I'd be like, here, take this situation off my hands. Please handle all the details. Please heal my mind of any error. Let me know what you would have me do. Amen, or thank you. And that's what I encourage doing, because when you're in those situations, when the ego's got you in a headlock, when you're faced with this situation that you're just like, I can't see clearly right now, I need help. The best thing you can do is really turn it over and keep turning it over. I can tell you that there have been situations when my little brother was in the hospital and I was 5 hours away in New York and a mess. I turned that over like nobody's business. I was shooting hoops in my kitchen all night. And it's really in those situations that we work our surrender muscles, and we really give it up to a higher power that knows, that has our best interest in mind, and that knows better than us what's the best way for us. Because a lot of times in a situation, we think we know the best way, but we don't. And it's only when we surrender that we can truly open up for that guidance, so that we're directed to do the right thing. So that, we're not trying to take it all on ourselves, because we don't need to, because that's when things get muddled, when we're trying to control everything. So when you're in that ego head, like, meditate, first of all, of course. Come back to your truth. Center into that light inside of you. Center into who you truly are, because that's the key, right? And the next thing is surrender it. Just keep surrendering. It's the combination. A lot of the questions that I get with clients or through email, it's really a combination of the mix of the daily moment-to-moment practice, which is so crucial, and also having that steady, constant meditation practice, so that you're not only showing up for yourselves in the morning and at night, but you're also showing up in the moment to moment. You're showing up in the grocery store when you get that text message from the guy you liked and it's not saying what you wanted to say. You're showing up in the line at this, I don't know, I'm saying the grocery store again. You're showing up when your mom's yelling at you about something crazy and you don't know what to do. Like, it's in those moments that we really bring out the toolbox. And like I said, again, that's part of why I really love the long-term coaching program, because it's a beautiful thing to get to journey through 6 months together and really get one-on-one guidance on the little blips that pop up in life, like they do, right? Because it's normal. That's just what happens. We're alive. So I hope that was helpful. I think we're going to just about wrap up, but if you guys have any more questions, feel free to tweet at me. I'm just going to try to make sure, I want to make sure. A lot of people submitted very similar questions, so I feel like I covered a good amount of them. I think I did. Thank you guys for hanging on in there. I appreciate it. Oh, how much is the 6 month? Oh, okay. Oh, that would have been funny. I didn't say any of this stuff, did I? So my sessions are $250 each for the a la carte session, and the 6 month mentorship is $1,000 a month. Or if you pay it all at once, then it's only $5,000, so you get a whole month free. But yeah, so it's really a much a value doing the mentorship, because not only do you get to talk to me for an hour every week, so you get the 4 sessions at the rate, but you're also getting that in-between contact. So you have access to me via email. and I'm giving you homework, and yeah, I feel like there's just so much tremendous growth that comes from that. Giving you, I record personal guided meditations for some of my mentees when it comes up, as well as a lot of guidance, in between sessions when, someone has a freak out or something's going on. So yeah, I think that's that. I hope I've answered everything. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think I'll wrap up, give you guys another 5 minutes if you have anything to tweet at me. Um, but I also want to wrap up by saying, so I work with a lot of entrepreneurs on growing a spiritual business or growing a love-based business from a spiritual place. And so it's definitely one of the things I probably get the most questions on is how I started my business, which I went over in the beginning of the session, and advice on how to grow your business or decide whether, which way to go. And so what I always say, kind of how I got started, is that you just have to like I said, follow what feels expansive as far as where to start. And you don't have to force anything. You don't have to push anything. Just start where you're at right now with what feels good right now. So with what feels good right now is, working on your Instagram while you have another job, starting a blog while you have another job, do it. If all you can do right now is post once a week, that's fine. I think one of the blessings I had was because when I started out, I didn't know that this existed. I didn't know this thing. And I think a lot of the people I work with, the girls I work with right now, they see all these other people, and I'm one of them. And they're like, oh my God, everybody's making a living off of this. Everybody's like doing all their like this cool stuff. And I want to do it overnight. And it doesn't happen. It could happen overnight. It doesn't have to happen overnight. And it'll happen in its own divine time. It'll happen in the perfect timing if you just keep following what feels good. And you just keep doing those small steps each day that, it's like a bunch of tiny yeses that get you here. So that's that. And also, and I forgot like the other part of that question that I was talking about. What did they ask me? I don't know. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. But yeah, so I do work with a lot of okay. Yeah. So I really recommend when it comes to your business, if I could give you one tip of advice for growing your love-based business or your following, if that's you, it would really be to be authentic. And maybe I'm going to combine that into two, is be authentic and do it from your heart. Because for me, I think that I have just always been myself. And I think part of that was because, again, like I said, I wasn't aiming to try to do anything. I just was being me. And I think that got me really far. And it still, I think, gets me really far because I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be. I go through the same stuff you guys go through. The only difference is that I know how to bring myself back to the light faster. Is that I maybe I'm like 5 to 10 steps ahead of you guys. That's the only difference. And it doesn't mean that I don't have my bad days. It doesn't mean I don't have my funky days. It doesn't mean that I never get stuck in an ego headlock. And I'm really open about that. And that's how I can teach people, is by letting them know that I've been there and that it's a process, it's a journey. And I think, if you're staying true to yourself and sharing your story and sharing what's going on for you and how you're getting through it, you're going to naturally inspire other people. You're going to find your tribe. You're going to find the people that really relate to you. So I think when you're, if I was going to give you one step of advice for your business, that would be it. And of course, like I said, just follow your heart. Follow what feels expansive. And keep doing those small little actions. All right, so I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to give one more last look to Twitter before we hang up. But I want to thank you guys so much for being on this call. And for those of you that are going to be watching this later tonight or tomorrow morning, thank you. I hope this was helpful. I'm sorry it was a little scattered. This is my first time doing a Google Hangout, and I'm really excited that I was able to figure it out. I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world, but I'm excited for this. And like I said, I just want to repeat, if any of you guys are interested in my coaching and want to speak to someone that's been through the 6-month program and get some, some tidbits from them, I think that's, probably that's the best, that would be the best I could offer you. If you already feel moved to book a session and get that conversation going, email me ASAP. I am going to China. I'm going to Shanghai. How cool is that? I'm going to Shanghai to talk about health and wellness and being present. And so that's going to be at the end of next week. So I know if you guys are excited and inspired and want to have a session right away, email me right now. I will schedule you for something before I leave. I promise. For anyone who, I'm not going to promise. I'm going to do my very best. There are a lot of people that signed up to get this recording. So I don't know if I could humanly accommodate everybody if everybody wanted a session. But I'm going to do my best if you email me ASAP to get you a session before I leave, because I'm sure you're excited and pumped and want to chat. And if not, I'll be back mid-June. And we'll be looking forward to doing more Google Hangouts and more things like this. If you guys have any feedback for me, I would love to hear it. This is my first time doing anything like this. So I truly appreciate all of your feedback, any of your comments. I get that, certainly maybe wasn't perfect, but I think we did a good job. We made it through. Feel free to email me any feedback or tweet at me feedback if you want. And thanks. And I'm just reading your tweets, guys. You guys are really sweet. And yeah, thanks for watching. And I look forward to chatting with you all soon. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube while you're on here. And you'll be able to see the launch of my new online cooking show that's called Eat with Intention, which I totally didn't even talk about, but that's a super exciting new project that I can't wait to share with you guys. It's been a labor of love of mine. Something I've been really passionate about is merging food, eating, and meditation. And it's going to talk about the whole shebang. You guys are going to love it. Anyway, thanks. Have a good night. I love you all. Talk to you soon.